Hey, what's up, guys? Here on the Fire Sports Pod, where everything we do here is fire. I'm your host, Zach Jackson, with my guest host, Billy the Bat Boy. I appreciate it, Billy, for coming on. You definitely go follow him at Billy the Bat Boy. He has a thing on Instagram, YouTube, TikTok. Definitely go give him a follow. He's got a great content, great show. I appreciate Billy for you coming on today.
Yeah, man. I appreciate you having me on, Zach, and it's been a pleasure to chat some baseball with you throughout the past couple years, and I'm excited to hop on here today.
Yes. So let's get right to it. So our first two segments for you guys today are going to be, we're just going to strictly about baseball. Baseball is going to be what we're going to talk about. Billy's a baseball guy. So we're going to go into, I'm going to just give your thoughts on just the injuries that we've had so far, with just a lot of pitchers just having those injuries. And I know you were a pitcher at Montclair, and you've been playing baseball as really pitching wise for probably most of your life. So I know you kind of understand a little bit of what it's happening. But what were your thoughts on just all the injuries that have happened, and what were your reasons you think why? And I'll put my input after what I think are the reasons why there's so many injuries. I mean, literally left and right, I get a notification. Every guy is getting injured for pitching the baseball.
It's really difficult, Zach, and it's a tough situation, tough thing to see for sure. And I can't say I'm surprised because honestly, the way the game's moving, the way things are trending, there's such an emphasis on velo, high velocity pitchers, guys who are trying to throw as much as they can. It's putting a ton of stress on their elbows, their shoulders, and ultimately we're seeing the results of that with all of these injuries and the downside to it. Right? It's pretty cool to see somebody in the eighth or ninth inning throw 100 miles an hour or more, but we don't think as much about the guys who are then impacted when they have a season-ending injury or are out for over a year with Tommy John. That's just the way things are moving. You have young kids in Little League or kids growing up playing travel ball who have a radar gun at all these games, who are training with a radar gun, trying to throw as hard as they can, harder. But you can't blame them either because they know that their shot of playing professional baseball or at the highest level is if they throw hard. And that's a way for them to stand out because in a world where we have so many talented players, if you put up a flashy number in the pen or if you dominate because of how hard you throw, chances are you're going to be looked at as somebody who has a lot of potential and can go ahead and make an impact on a professional team. That's the way it's been, and we'll see what happens as a result of this. But I do think that we will start to see more teams decide that we're going to approach players who maybe don't throw as hard, but have fantastic command, are able to locate their pitches and have really good stuff, have great movement on their off speed and breaking balls. That's what I see moving forward. I don't think it'll be as much of an issue as we've seen in the past with all of these injuries. And then also with the teams and what they're looking for, they've 100% scouts and these front offices have been looking at players who throw extremely hard because that's what the teams want them to look for. That's just how it is because that's how the game is trending. But I do see a time very soon now because of all these injuries and players speaking out about it that we do see teams start to find players such as Marcus Stroman, who's in the low 90s with his fastball but has great stuff and is able to throw quality innings and get big league hitters out. You have other pitchers in the league, Kyle Hendricks with the Cubs. And then you think back to years ago with Greg Maddux, Tom Glavine. Those guys didn't throw super hard, but they're very, very good players. They had a great career. So that's what I see here in the future. And it's a shame when these guys who are all-stars in this game and pretty much aces of multiple pitching staffs go down with injuries.
Yeah.
It's really a tough sight.
Yeah. I definitely agree with that. A quick note, we had that issue also last year. I think last year was the real, I mean, it started a couple years ago, but really last year started a little bit. For me, I kept just seeing a lot of pitchers getting injured. And then now this year is just like skyrocketed. I don't know, like really, it's been ridiculous. And it sucks because it's like a lot of good teams that are, like you said, that have like they rely on their aces and they're getting injured. AK our Yankees. Both of us are Yankees fans. Garrett Cole. I mean, it's similar, but it's not as bad. But we thought, I thought it was going to be Tommy John because it kind of sounded a little like it, and I was like, crap. Here we go again with the Yankees because a lot of teams for some reason, well, at least the Yankees wise, I know, in the American League, most of the teams they can't get out of spring training without an injury. There's somebody that gets injured. And I don't know if and you let me know, but I think, you know how like the preseason for the NFL, they're trying to like minimize the games because it looks like every time there's a preseason, yeah, it gets you engaged and ready for the regular season, but really does it? Because none of your top players are really playing. So why have somebody get a torn ACL or torn meniscus in a football game that doesn't count for nothing? It's same thing with spring training. Like, all right, I get it. You're preparing yourself and you're trying to get yourself in football, baseball, basketball shape. But what happens if your star player gets injured because he's playing a quarter or he's playing like a couple innings? You know what I mean? Like that's why I thought like maybe spring training could be like lessened and maybe just like a week before or just 1 week and then having off breaks, not just consistently playing, because I don't know. It's just a reoccurring factor of just injuries on injuries and injuries. But I do agree that people that nowadays it's all about fast. It's all about fast. That's the same thing with basketball. It's all about athleticism. No one cares about the guy that does the little things. It's like, wow, he's 6'8", can dunk the basketball. Football, he's 6'5", can catch a ball. His speed is a 4.21. We had a guy that in the NFL draft, Worthy from Texas, ran a 4.21. He wasn't big, he wasn't big, but he had a different thing that not a lot of people have, which is speed. So that's the same thing with thing. We're worried too much about speed. Can he throw a curveball correctly? Can he get people out with not throwing a 98 miles an hour fastball, 100 mile an hour fastball? I remember the guy from the Athletics earlier in the season, the closer. I forgot his name. You know who I'm talking about?
Mason Miller with the A's?
Yes. He literally threw out 3 straight Juan Soto, Rizzo, and I think Judge on 3 straight pitches in each at bat, and they were all over 100 miles an hour. It was either a changeup, it was a freaking it was a fastball. It was either those 2 pitches. He was just going back and forth. And even his curveball was just like in the high 80s, almost a 90. So that just shows you like he might be down the road. Hopefully not, but he might be down the road dealing with Tommy John or dealing with these problems, injuries, because he's throwing. He hit 103. I was like, and it didn't even look like he was breaking a sweat.
Yeah, a lot of these hard throwers, it's a ticking time bomb, really.
Yeah.
You know that they're going to get hurt. It's a matter of when. And some guys are able to throw very hard and just prolong their career and not get injured as often. A guy like Garrett Cole, who you just mentioned, he really hasn't gotten hurt much in his career. No. And he's someone who throws hard and is a starting pitcher and is expected to go out there and throw maybe 200 innings a year. He's done really well for himself on the injury side. But now, obviously, he's sidelined for a little bit. It looks like he prevented any further injury with a potential TJ situation. Yeah. But he obviously knows his body really well. And if you know your body well and you know what you can handle, it helps out a lot.
Yeah, I definitely agree. But you don't really see him hitting the triple digits, which is a good thing. Even though he throws fast, he just doesn't hit those triple digits. It's a rarity. At least I haven't seen it. And I usually watch almost every Yankee game. I don't know. I think I'm crazy because 162 games. And that means I'm a true Yankee fan if I can watch all those games.
Yeah.
So now pivot from the injury wise. I think both of us agree. I think we just got to slow down. Like just slow down. Like not like everyone worry about, especially the guys coming in. I know on your show and your podcast segment is always trying to help out. I mean, I got your book sitting right here.
Oh, there we go.
It got your book sitting right here. I'm going to start reading it soon. But you try to tell the young guys, like, all right, like keep pushing, never give up. But it shouldn't be all about speed. It shouldn't be all right as a pitcher, not just in general, obviously, but pitcher-wise, it is not all about speed. There's other characters. Like you said, Marcus Stroman's a great example. He doesn't throw high fastball. He's in the low 90s. But he strikes out. He gets people out. And it's if you can locate and put the ball where it's supposed to be and get those batters out, that's what really matters. Can you get an out when we need it? That's what really matters. And a lot of people nowadays, the scouts and everything, they worry about the speed and whatever. It's really not. It's if you can get people out. I'll take, let's say, Billy, you threw a fastball 89, 90 miles an hour, right? Not fast, but still relatively fast. And you did everything else but low. But you got everybody out. I'll take you over the guy from the A's that is throwing 103 miles an hour because I know, like you said, ticking time bomb. he's going to get injured. Hopefully not, but he's going to get injured most likely sooner rather than later because he's throwing so fast and so hard and so strong. You work around that and you get people out. So that's just my thing. I think we both agree with that. We just got to slow down, not expect young kids to throw high fastball speeds, because when they get to the major leagues and the big leagues, it's not going to work out that well.
If you throw hard, you're able to get away with more mistakes. And that's what teams love. They love that. If you throw a fastball, maybe not down the middle, but in an area where the hitter could maybe put a barrel on it, there's a higher chance that you're going to get them to maybe foul it off or swing and miss. Yeah. Now, if you throw that same pitch in the same spot and you don't throw as hard, that's going to give the hitter much more time to recognize the pitch and do some damage. So if you don't throw as hard, you have to have really good command. And that's what the problem is right now, is teams are a little bit unsure if there are many players who have that excellent command of their pitches and they're able to execute them in the way that they need to in order to get outs. Yeah. Because if you do have a hard thrower, you're more likely to get guys to swing and miss, and obviously there's less reaction time when that ball's approaching the plate.
Yeah, exactly. So before we put Professor McCarthy on, which is my next guest here on our show, let's talk a little bit about the Yankees for a quick 34 minutes. What are your thoughts on the Yankees? And I think we need to sign Juan Soto immediately after the season's over, because this man has just broke Mickey Mantle's record in walks. I got to take that on my TikTok. Just broke that. That's pretty crazy that he's already broke that, and he still has a lot more years to go. I mean, this guy's not slowing down, and he's the reason for a lot of our wins, just big hits at big times. That's why we got him, for those reasons, because when Judge he's a little bit inconsistent, but when he's on, he's hitting. And now he's getting into the swing of things. I think that has to do with the injury that he had I believe in last year, and then into spring training was a little with the abdominal pull. I think that has to do with it, because that's all with the swing. Like that has a lot to do with the swing, is the abdominal part. So that can really take a toll, especially also the foot, that little toe. That's his plant foot too. So, but what are your thoughts on the Yankees? And do we think we need to sign Juan Soto?
I love the way the Yankees are looking right now. Obviously, Soto's been a huge part of it, and they should definitely extend him. It looks like they're going to have to wait till the offseason to make that happen, but I think they'll get it done because he seems to really enjoy it here. And then, obviously, the impact he's had, he's carried this team. Judge started off the season a little bit slow, and Soto was able to step up and make an impact in his first game and in most of the games of this season. So it's really exciting to see him out there, and he's a game changer, a clutch game changer for sure. And when you look at this Yankee team, they're doing so well. They're in first place right now by half a game. And what I think about are the guys who are on the injured list. You have Garrett Cole, DJ LeMahieu, Jason Dominguez, Tommy Kahnle. These guys are coming back in the near future, and this team's in first place. This team is rolling. Like, you don't need these guys at the present moment to make an impact and try to elevate a team because we're struggling. This team's in first place. This team's rolling. Those guys coming back will only help them and give them more depth, give them more opportunities to produce and succeed at the highest level here. And it's exciting because it'll be like an addition as opposed to just trying to fill a void.
Exactly. And that's what we did the last 2 years, I believe. We have tried to fill everything. And we're not to mention we don't have Dominguez. Right. He's coming back too. I can't wait to see him in this lineup. It's going to be nuts. But I have on TikTok Live, Victor said Soto is built to be a Yankee, but wanting Ohtani money is crazy. Now, what I mean, for me, he's great, but I don't think he's worth Ohtani. I didn't think Ohtani was worth that much.
Right.
When we talked about earlier when he got that contract during the summer, I don't think Victor Ohtani was even worth that much money. On top of that, I don't think Soto's worth Ohtani's money, but I do think he's worth about Judge's money, maybe a little less, just to the point of the fact is how much Judge has carried the Yankees in the recent years, and that's why he's been promoted captain. And no matter what, you always will get everything out of Judge, no matter what, and Soto. So I think it's going to be hard to have both of them, and I think we might have to say goodbye to Stanton if that's the point, if that's the case, because I don't know how that's going to work though, money-wise. And we can get Professor McCarthy to come on, and we'll ask him before you head out what he thinks about the money situation, because I don't know how we're going to be able to sign and have Judge, Stanton, Rizzo, and Soto all on the thing. Not to mention Garrett Cole, which is taking a big chunk of our space here. So I don't know. Before we get him on, what are your just quick thoughts on just the money wise? Because I don't think it's going to work.
Yeah, it's an interesting spot because obviously in the big leagues you don't have a salary cap, but you
Yeah,
do have a luxury tax threshold and different levels of that where teams have to pay a nice chunk of change in order to sign some bigger name guys and to bigger deals. But it looks like obviously Judge had that big contract, and Soto I think is going to get something in the 500 million area maybe. Don't forget he's so young. You could
yeah,
extend him for 13 years.
and that's
And a guy like Judge was, I believe it was a 9-year deal.
yeah, it was a
And
9-year deal. Yeah,
so obviously he's going to be making less over the full duration of the contract
yeah,
because of his age.
right.
He played in college. So that's just how it is. But I do see Soto definitely making a ton. Obviously, it can't be the amount of Ohtani because Ohtani, it's just a different situation. He's a unicorn. Like it's a unique
It's strange.
situation that we've never seen before. And he's a pitcher as well. Soto doesn't pitch. So
Yeah,
I don't
exactly.
think he could make as much as Ohtani, but obviously he's going to get a beautiful payday in the offseason. And the Yankees, I think, will be able to do it, especially if they win the World Series. If the
Uh,
Yankees win the World Series this year, I
it's a
think
wrap.
that's a shoo-in for Soto to be back here as a Yankee.
It's a wrap, and I think that's what he's looking to. Victor also added something on the thing. He said, obviously not relevant to the conversation, but the Braves, he said, are a sleeper for Soto because they have the money and the young, super talented team.
Mm.
That
Yeah, I
I didn't
love the
think
Braves.
about
I
that.
love what they're doing. They locked up a lot of their younger guys early. So
Yeah,
they have these guys who are solid, like Albies and Acuna, who
Acuna's great, man.
are part of this team, the part of the core of this team, and they don't have to worry about them becoming free agents. So I love what they're doing as well. And you never know. This baseball industry is crazy, and it's hard to expect what'll happen.
Yeah, I do. I think Victor got some good things in there, man.
No, absolutely.
He said he's also said very team friendly deals with those guys too. So he's exactly. But Victor, I appreciate the comments, man, on my live. That's great. But let's get Professor McCarthy in. I do want to see his take before you go about just the Yankees in general because
Absolutely.
he's been waiting for the last 5 minutes. All right, Professor.
Yeah.
Hello. Hi there.
What are we doing?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Doing very well.
All right, that's good. That's good. I'm happy to hear that. Happy to hear that. Well, we were just talking a little bit about. I had Billy on for the last 15 minutes about the just the injuries with the pitchers that we talked about in during class, and then as well as we were just talking about Soto and my guy Victor here, my TikTok live decided to say that Soto's great, and we also agree. But we were talking about the money and how could the Yankees afford it. And I wanted, before Billy jumped off, I wanted to see what you guys, you, Professor McCarthy, thought about the money wise when it came to trying to re-sign Soto in the offseason. How do you think that's going to work?
Well, we don't know what the money is, and we don't know how much Steinbrenner is willing to go over the cap. But my thought is they have to sign him. He's a drawing card. One of the things that people didn't realize, one of the reasons he came here, is there's a large Dominican population in New York City, and that's why he feels comfortable. I think he's already replaced Judge in the with the right field bleachers crew. They love him, and he loves them. It's a real good fit. Now, where the Yankees can get some money is, first of all, they have to find somebody who's willing to take Stanton, and it's got to be an American League team. And the Yankees are going to have to eat some of the money. There's no question that he's a liability. For every home run, you can't put 10 strikeouts. And he's also locking up the DH position, which means Judge doesn't get a day off, Soto doesn't get a day off, Rizzo doesn't get a day off. They got a lot of questions. If DJ comes back, what are they going to get from him? He didn't show much at the end of last year. And I also think it's time for them to move Torres. He's a free agent at the end of the year, and he hasn't shown anything like he did in his first year.
Yeah.
Um, He's at the top of the error list for second baseman. He strikes out too much. I hit his first home run the other night. That's too late into the season. Plus, they have people. I mean, you don't need that much. If you have the kind of water that they have, you can put a Pierre or an Oswald Cabrera in there. You don't have to trade for a second baseman. You have people that you can fill in there. So maybe they're not, top flight, but they can certainly fill the spot. If you have Judge and Soto, and Rizzo's hitting the ball, then you don't need somebody. You need somebody who can play second base without making errors. And Torres has not proven that he's that guy. And so you get a little less of a bat. I don't know if you do with Cabrera. I mean, he's hitting the ball very well. We saw it last year when the longer he was up, they found the holes in his bat and he didn't hit as well. But, if Dominguez comes up, you have to see what he can do. He did something in a flash last year, and he's doing well in the minors, but you don't know what that's going to be like. And if he does come up, he's going to have to be probably in a DH spot quite a bit.
Yeah.
Verdugo has added a lot of spirit, and he's also an excellent outfielder. Judge has made the shift to center field, but you don't want him playing center field every day through the whole season.
Yeah.
So you see what you get from Dominguez. I think the time is they have to move Torres, and they have to try and unload Stanton. I don't know who's going to take him because he's got a hefty contract. When Canely comes back, they're going to have a glut of relief pitchers as well. So they can move some of those guys. Everybody's always looking to shuffle relievers. And, they're talking about crazy trades, like getting the pitcher from the Astros. I don't see that happening.
Verlander?
Yeah.
Oh, well.
As a possibility.
I'll
they're
take
going to be in a selling position, the Astros. They're talking about Bergman moving because he's at the end of his contract. And it's good. I mean, I love him. If they got him and played third base, I'd be very happy.
Mm-hmm.
But, I mean, your roster is limited to 25 guys.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a problem that the Yankees haven't had in the past. They were filled in with minor league players. But I think if Soto's willing to come in, I think Judge will be flexible. I don't think it'll be an ego problem with him. Nobody's going to get Ohtani money. That's just not possible.
Yeah.
Atlanta has a good team, but they haven't been that big of a spender. They let Freddie Freeman go. They let other people go because they weren't willing. And Freeman's a doubles machine, and they let him go to the Dodgers. So I don't see them spending that kind of money that Soto's going to need. Plus, he's a major draw. I mean, right now, look at their crowds.
Yeah, no, it's ridiculous.
At home, they're getting 40,000. You go down to Tampa, and they get 18,000, and most of them are Yankee fans.
Yeah.
So I think they're in a good spot. Baltimore showed last year that they're pretty decent, and they're young, but you don't know that they're necessarily going to repeat. If Cole comes back to his old form, they might have to put Nestor in the bullpen. Imagine Nestor coming in to get a couple lefties out.
Jesus.
That would be nasty. I mean, he's lost a little bit on his fastball, and right now, the way Schmidt is pitching and the way Gill is pitching, I'm not sold on Rodon.
Yeah, no.
Who knows?
Stroman's good, though. I like Stroman.
Yeah, he's a competitor. So right now, the odd man out is probably Nestor Cortez.
Yeah.
And they could use him. I'm not sold on Ferguson. I haven't seen him really show me that he's really that good. So
yeah, no.
You move Nestor there.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I definitely agree with that. Nestor is there. But Billy, I'm gonna say peace out to you. Appreciate you coming on to the show, talking some baseball. I'll definitely have you throughout the summer.
No, absolutely. I appreciate you having me on here, and Professor McCarthy, great to see you as well.
Okay,
And I'll see
Billy,
you guys soon.
curious, did you go to school with those quintuplets at Passaic Valley?
I did.
No way, actually.
They're great people, and they've gotten a lot of coverage over the past week in the press with all them graduating the same day. So I'm really happy for them. They're awesome.
On the first page of the Ledger yesterday.
Yeah. No, that's amazing. That's amazing. Yeah, they all went to Montclair, and I think all committed the same day and everything. And
That's awesome.
they're great students too. So we had class together. I had a class with a few of them.
Was there any blowback in the fact that they got tuition for 4 years? Did you hear any rumbling?
No, not that I know of. No, because they got full rides.
Right.
So that's great for the family too. They didn't have that was probably a concern of theirs, but they got that covered.
Yeah,
man.
That's cool. I saw that on the news, and I was like, wait, me and my friend were on actually at Montclair, and we saw it at the news. We were like, wait, what the hell was it? I was like, and then we looked into it. I was like, all right, cool. That's cool that you knew them. That's awesome.
Yeah, they're great. So I'm happy for them for sure.
That's awesome. But I'm going to say bye to Billy. Professor, you'll stay on for a little bit. We'll talk a little bit more. But thanks again, Billy. I'll be in touch. All right, bro?
Absolutely. Thank you.
Peace out, man. All right, so Professor, we're on here for another couple minutes. How you doing?
I'm doing well.
Oh,
I had a good semester. Once I get some doctor appointments out of the way and I can spend more times with my granddaughters, I'm really into watching the Knicks right now. So the Yankees have taken a little bit of a back seat, but
the Knicks, they came back. They blew them out by 30 last night. They lost by 30 the previous night, then they won by 30 last night. So I think they closed it out in 6. That's what I wanted to get to. I wanted to get to a little bit of the NBA playoffs because I know you've been watching it a little bit. But the Knicks, what's your take? Do you think that they can go all the way? I just think without Randall, I like Randall. He gives that like other scoring, even though like Brunson's going crazy, but you're gonna rely on him too much. I don't think he can do everything.
Well, the thing is, if you get Randall, you don't get the Brunson that you're getting.
That's true.
Okay. I'm not a big fan of this style, to be honest.
Who, Randall?
No, of the way the Knicks are playing now. I think that Brunson is really outstanding, but when you take 485 dribbles in a basketball game, that's like playing like James Harden. And I was never a fan of Harden because the ball doesn't move, and I'd like to see the ball move. Now the Knicks have been very fortunate in that one day DiVincenzo steps up. Yesterday Burks steps up.
Yeah.
Hartenstein has been a warrior.
Hartenstein's a beast.
Anything that he doesn't get, he taps out.
Yep.
Hart is playing 50 minutes a night.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
He's very good going to the basket. He's not really a good shooter. When Deuce is shooting well, they're okay. I mean, look what they're doing with three guys who are in their rotation. Brunson is the only guy who was in the starting lineup at the beginning of the season. I mean, this kind of thing is unheard of. So do I think that they can go all the way? I don't. I think they're going to have a hard time in Indy. I think if they're going to close it out, it'll have to be at the Garden.
Oh, you think it's going 7?
Oh, absolutely. I don't see it. Them going to Indiana and beating them there. The crowd is very tough. If Indy gets off to a good start like they did the other night, they're really tough to beat. But I think the Knicks now have a plan that if they double Brunson, he's a good passer, and other guys have stepped up.
Yeah.
If Burks doesn't make the shots or DiVincenzo doesn't make the shots, then they're in trouble.
Yeah.
But what they've done is really incredible.
Yeah.
You look at, nobody could put 3 starters on the bench and do what they have done. It's just remarkable.
No, it's nuts, and I credit the coach to that because that's a big change. On top of that, I'd also thought that the game, yesterday was game 4 when they were up 2-1, and then the Pacers tied it, blowing them out. Dude, the Pacers didn't miss. That's what I'm
Right.
saying. It's like, are they going to shoot like that again?
No.
That's what I'm saying. I think the Knicks could win that in Indiana because of the fact of the matter is they didn't miss. Like Halliburton, I believe, 8 of 13 from 3. He had 32. Miles Turner was hitting step back threes on 3 people. Like,
Right.
I don't think they're going to shoot like that again.
No, I don't think they will. And I think one of the things that people are not considering is the travel that's involved, and they're playing every other day.
Yeah.
When the Knicks, the thing that the Knicks have that a lot of teams don't have is they have consistent energy. Sometimes other teams they slack off a little on defense, and the Knicks are just like right in your face the entire time. They put so much pressure on. Well, the other night Cleveland got a lot of open shots. I think the Knicks were tired. Brunson was on half a wing. That's one of the ones I'm not a betting person, but I would have bet the house that Indiana would have beaten the Knicks.
Damn, you should have because I think
Well, you know what? You
the
can't
payout was ridiculous.
you can't have guys play. All right, so Hart, let's take a look at him. He's the engine for the team. He
Yeah.
plays 50 minutes. Okay, they get done at 11:30.
Yeah.
By the time they get done with the interviews, eat, etc. By the time they get to the airport, you're talking about 1 a.m. All right, maybe it's a 2-hour flight in Indianapolis. You're getting there at 3 o'clock in the morning. The next day they have breakfast, they have a shoot around, and then the next day they're playing.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
I don't know that any of us give these guys credit in any sport except for football, obviously.
Yeah.
The travel, yourself, when you travel, it's draining. I
Yeah,
know
it is.
when I've flown different places, the first day that I'm in a new place, there's no way I could run up 94 feet. Even when I was younger, I couldn't do that.
Nah, it's really
I
hard.
was younger, but still, that's a drain.
No, it is. It is because I know when I travel to I'm younger, so I'm also a freaking robot, so it really
Mhm.
doesn't matter to me. But when I'm like driving, if I drive like far and I
Mhm.
come back and then I'm just like eating and then I have to drive again like at nighttime, like if I go like 2 hours away and I have
Right.
to drive there and for a tournament and I'm coaching throughout the thing and then I got to drive back, I'm like dead. So like I have to make sure I have music on, somebody in the car to talk because if not, I'm just gonna fall asleep because I'm
Right.
so tired. And that's just 2 hours. Just imagine doing all that, having to go on a flight, then this, then that, practice, whatever, and then go run up the court 94 feet, 50 minutes, like Josh,
Mhm.
DiVincenzo, and Brunson do. They are on like a ridiculous stat line that all 3 of the players are playing like every game, like every minute. Like
Well, it's amazing also. I don't know if there's ever been in history 3 guys who played in the same college team
too.
in the NBA. And don't forget, they tried to get Bridges from the Nets.
Yeah, that would have been something. All 4 of them. Whew.
Well, it was interesting that they're playing Philly, and Jay Wright is a huge Philly fan.
Yeah,
So his loyalties were divided, but I'm sure he was pulling
the
for
Knicks.
his kids.
Yeah. A question. Did you a little off topic, but I've always wanted to ask you, why did Jay Wright retire? Do you know?
Oh yeah, I do. Do you think it was coincidental that Jay Wright retired at the same time Krzyzewski retired?
Oh, that makes more sense.
I'll give you 2 reasons:
Uh-huh.
portal,
Yep.
NIL.
Yeah, yeah.
Jay Wright saw the handwriting on the wall.
Mm-hmm.
What they used to do is they would bring in guys in, and then they would redshirt them. So they got academically sound, and they found out what Villanova basketball is all about. And then they played 4 straight years. Remember, you get 5, well, it used to pre COVID, you
Yeah.
got 5 years to play 4. Those guys played with each other for 4 years. A lot of guys move around. Now, with the portal, he didn't want to get involved in that game. Look at Seton Hall. They win the NIT and they lost their entire team except for one guy.
Yeah, that's nuts.
UConn, between the NBA and the portal, they lost everybody.
Yeah.
And Scott Drew said, coach at Baylor, the biggest thing now is you have to coach your own kids.
Yep.
So certain schools, like you take a look at Seton Hall. They had a kid in the backcourt, was from Bayonne. They were, Rutgers. They were offering a kid $50,000 a year. Well, Washington State got in touch with them, and they offered him $500,000 a year. You're a kid from Bayonne. What are you going to do?
500.
Yeah. Now look at Amori. He had a great career at Rutgers.
Yeah.
But now he's going to Alabama, and Alabama will play Rutgers this year in a tournament in Las Vegas. But it had to be money.
Yeah, no doubt.
When Mulcahy was at Rutgers, he walked around and his feet didn't touch the ground. He was a god, and he couldn't even make an NBA team. And the same thing with Amori. He's a good shot blocker, but we don't know what his NBA career would be.
Yeah.
But he's going to Alabama. They were good last year, and guess what? Alabama lost a lot of players too.
Yeah.
Kentucky.
Oh, don't get me started on Kentucky, man. That was bad.
They're all gone.
They're all gone, including the freaking coach, man.
Well, Wagner is talking about possibly going to Arkansas to go back with Calipari. So Pope takes over at Kentucky, where there's a tremendous expectation, and every player is gone.
You think he's good enough to do something there?
Who knows? It depends upon whom he can bring in.
Because I'm a Wildcats fan, big time. My dad went to that college, didn't play, but went there, and I've been a Kentucky fan ever since, and it's just been so hard over the last couple of years.
When did you go there?
I didn't go there. I said my dad went there, so when I basically my thing is that all the teams that my dad liked growing up and all the teams that he passed down to me when I was younger and rooted for, I'm now those fans. So Rangers, Yankees, Lakers,
Right.
That's the why I'm like that. Kentucky. The only team that I didn't do is my football team, Ohio State, but that was the first college football team I watched back in like 2011, 2010.
Well, you have to remember, Kentucky basketball, it's a religion. They get 22,000 people at their blue and white scrimmage. Okay? I was at the Final Four in Kentucky when Villanova had that perfect game and beat Georgetown. And we met people there, women who were in their 60s, who knew every bit about the players. And one of the things that they do is, because they can't always get tickets, they go and start following guys that the school's recruiting. So if they knew that somebody was recruiting Zack from Old Bridge, they would send people to Old Bridge and watch you play while you're in high school because they couldn't get season tickets when you got there.
That's nuts. I didn't know.
So it is absolutely crazy there. Now Pope's had a good run where he is, but listen, if you're going to get rid of Calipari, and make no mistake about it, that was not his decision. Okay, that was not his decision.
Yeah, I know. I say he heard it. You saw it in his face. You saw it in the interview that he gave himself and saying goodbye. He didn't want to go.
Okay, so you see, if you got a guy like that who's won NCAA championship, look at the number of guys he sent to the NBA.
Look at them who are superstars right now.
Right. Look at what Anthony Davis became once he left.
Yeah.
So that's a great job. And I think Arkansas is going to be a great job as well. They're just starting to spend money. And Calipari is a really good salesman.
Yeah. So the one thing that he is really good at is that, and on top of that, and a lot of the losses in the tournament, to me, wasn't really on Calipari that much. I know it goes on him because he's the coach, but I don't think it was really on him. You look at like just our past loss in the first round. Reeves didn't do nothing. Dillingham, our two best guys that came off the bench and started, didn't do absolutely nothing in the game.
Well, Wagner did nothing either.
Yeah, well, Wagner really wasn't like the guy. Like, he was coming out of high school, he was the guy. When he went to Kentucky, he wasn't the guy. So That's why he didn't really do that much. Like I was thinking like, oh, Wagner's gonna be like Cooper Flagg is right now. Like that's how everyone was talking about Wagner. Oh, he's this, he's that, he's that.
Well, what about Bradshaw? He's 7 feet.
That too. Like he didn't really do nothing either.
He's out of there.
And then that guy from that took like half the season to get from out of the country of
Right.
Vucevic or I can't pronounce his name. But he didn't do nothing either, and he's 7 foot. So it's like we had. If you looked at that team that we versed, I think it was Cal. Was it Cal? Colgate? No. Forgot what it was. I think it was Cal. Something that.
Right.
But they all were like older guys that were there and in the grind. And I knew coming in there, our guys, we were talented, but we didn't have like size. Like we had size, but we didn't have like this size.
Well,
like,
remember this. Remember when Loyola Chicago got to the Final Four?
Yeah.
Okay, a couple of years back.
Mm-hmm.
That's because they all played together for 4 years. Yeah. So now you playing with guys that are 22 who played together for 4 years, and they're playing against 18-year-olds who were on different teams that coming from different part of the country. They're all competing for minutes. They're all think that they're all world because of AAU and all the, the hype surrounding them. Yeah. And that's what he found out. He got great players, and there was really no bond like they had at some of these small schools. There have been teams, you go back to when Butler years ago got to the Final Four and just missed the last shot, or they would have won. The small majors who can keep everybody together are playing with men, 23, 25-year-old guys against 18-year-olds.
Yeah. The odds are against the other guys.
And see what Calipari did was, and he used the system, he really was into the one and dones. And Krzyzewski started to do that, but he wasn't really comfortable with it, so he got out. You think Krzyzewski wants to, or Jay Wright wants halfway through the season or the end of the season say, hey, Zack, how do you like it here? We hope you stay. They don't want to do that. Mm-mm. And anybody who doesn't get the kind of minutes that they think they deserve, they're out.
Yeah.
And now, I read recently where these parents now are asking when the kid is being recruited, they want to know, are we getting floor seats?
Huh.
Yeah. Are we getting floor seats? So you really have to recruit parents, and what are you going to give me? So the NCAA, the college teams, have to be careful what you ask for. They love the fact that NILs came in because it took the heat off of them for cheating, which they all were doing. The only people who didn't cheat were the people who didn't get caught. They all cheated. Okay. Yeah. I know a number of Division I coaches who tell me what the landscape is like. So then they thought, well, look, this is out of our hands. Not really. NILs are major in terms of recruitment. And then the coaches and the NCAA turns around and says to Congress, you got to help us out. And it's never going to happen.
No.
One of the things that I've read about, and I think is definitely going to come to pass, is the Big Five conferences are going to split from the NCAA. Because all the NCAA does for them right now is have a rule book that tries to catch them doing the wrong thing. If they don't mind if they compete against each other and they all cheat, but it'll be different leagues. The leagues will be bigger. Every league will have like 16 teams in it. And, you don't think they could run their own tournament? They don't need the NCAA to run a tournament.
No.
And that's what's going to happen. The bigger ones are going to chew up the littler ones.
Yeah. No, I definitely agree with that. It's just weird. It's a lot of chaos now. Ever since that, especially with just in general Kentucky and whatever. Now I don't view Kentucky anymore as a powerhouse because of the fact that Calipari's not there. So I would probably say Arkansas is now the new Kentucky, if that makes sense.
Yeah, but all you need is 2 or 3 transfers, and then you're the new kid in town.
Yeah, exactly. Like that's basically it. Like it's so weird now. It's like whatever. I like college basketball. I love college basketball. I think still it's much better to watch than and more interesting to watch than the NBA. Same with football. But I liked it a lot better when it was when Anthony Davis was there, when Devin Booker was there, because it was a lot more of like basketball. If that makes sense.
All right. Well, those guys stayed a couple of years, and you could identify. Well, not Davis, but you
Well,
could identify with them as part of a team, part almost like a franchise. Like
yeah,
you're watching Judge over his year's career now, so he's Yankee, Yankee, Yankee.
yep,
You watch a college game, and they'll tell you that a guy is in his third school in 4 years. So, where's the loyalty? And it really comes down to the money. Wherever somebody got the idea that these players were entitled to make some of the money, because the coaches were making a lot of money. It's only in sports,
yep,
okay? Because Saban's making $9 million, the players want some money. Well, guess what? Saban was putting fannies in the seats in Alabama. They
yep,
turned over kids year after year.
yep.
You think that person, the CEO of Walmart, Costco, Walgreens, they make a profit in a particular year and they're gonna share it with their employees?
No,
No. So what makes basketball and these athletes? Well, they're doing it on our back. Well, they've always done it on their back. There were great players in the past who didn't get a dime. They got a college scholarship. They got a college education. These kids are better than Tony Dorsett. They're better than Johnny Unitas. They're better than Jim Brown. They're better than Michael Jordan. They're not.
no.
And those guys weren't paid.
Yeah, not like it is now. I mean, just imagine how much money Michael Jordan would have made if he
It's
was in.
all a lot of it is about celebrity. Look at the money Caitlin Clark has made,
Oh my,
and and she's had two lousy games so far in the WNBA.
yeah. But you think because of that, before we head out for our show, you think because the reason why Caitlin Clark she kind of underestimated what a little bit of the WNBA and basically she's not as strong, so she has to really rely on her shot. And that means she has to make so many moves just to get open because the WNBA is so much different in college. Like at WNBA, most of the girls that are there have been there for a while, and they're like poised defenders. So they're not gonna bite on a lot of things. So
Well, hey,
I've seen so many games where she's like going like this 7 different times, and then like stepping back. But it's like she's got to do it so many times, so she's taking so much of her energy out. You know what I
well,
mean?
in college, they have 13 people on a team in college, right?
Yeah,
They're not all NBA stuff and WNBA players. On an WNBA team, all of the players were the best players on their team.
yeah,
So it's like college all stars. And
yeah.
so it's not as easy because you're not playing against a person that's a little bit weak on defense.
No,
And there's tremendous pressure on her to perform. They sold out uh, the up in Connecticut just because she was playing. The Fever have sold out all of their tickets. She's been really good for the game. But as Diana Taurasi said, you're not going to come in here and bowl people over. There's
yeah,
people here who are really good players and they're solid. So they guard her a little bit closer. Plus, there's a lot of people who are envious who are in the league who are making not near the money she's making.
yeah.
It's like, it's like when Woods came out in golfing, Michelle Wee came out, and LeBron James came out. The people who are in the sport that were like, wait, they're making $10 million and they haven't even played a game.
Yeah, exactly. But one of my guys on my TikTok live, Victor, he said she's looking for those fouls she got in college, and the refs ain't giving it.
No,
Yeah,
she's still going to be a very good passer,
yeah.
and
So
and there will be times where she's going to shoot the ball well. I
yeah,
don't can look at the preseason and her first game as a testament to what she's going to be like. I think she's going to find her way, but you don't lead the country in scoring in the history of basketball and then all of a sudden you lose it just because you step up to another level.
Well,
transition.
Yeah, but Markelle Fultz did that. And he really sucked. Like, he went from college, like, being really good. And then in the NBA, his first, like, 4 or 5 years, he couldn't shoot a jump shot. That's also what happened to Ben Simmons. And look what Ben Simmons is now. Markelle Fultz figured it out. And now he's doing really well with the Magic. And he can't shoot the basketball. But Ben Simmons, he's a bum. No offense.
I think Fultz, a lot of his was mental.
Then what's the Ben then?
He lost his shot. I think Ben Simmons was overrated in the fact that he wasn't a shooter. He was a scorer. And it's not easy to score in the NBA if you can't shoot.
Yeah, nowadays.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because back then he would have been great. Like back then, like in the 90s and the early 2000s, he would have been fine because the game wasn't really transitioned yet into the three ball. It was still more of the paint presence, the Dwight Howard, still with Shaq.
Yeah, but look at Barrett. He was like a number 1 draft choice. It took him 4 years or so to really establish himself as a Knick, and they let him go.
And now he did some good things this year with the Toronto Raptors, but not nearly as big of a name because you're not in Madison Square Garden. You're in Toronto. No offense to Toronto, but it's not Madison Square Garden. It's not New York.
And not as big a name as people thought he would achieve.
Yeah, because he was with Zion. Everything was going like crazy.
Sure.
And look at Cam Reddish. I mean, Cam Reddish is on my Lakers, and he didn't play at all in the playoffs because he was injured, and he really hasn't panned out the way he was supposed to be. He's supposed to be a great two-way guard, can score the basketball, also defend. He can defend great, but his scoring is so ass, and he's so dependent on the three ball, and that's the problem because in college he was sat in the corner at Duke, literally just shoot the three. Coming to the NBA, he doesn't really have that good of a three-point shot, and Zion, he's great.
Can't stay on the floor.
He can't stay on the floor. What could happen? We don't know. Who knows if Zion stays on that floor against the Lakers in that play-in tournament? They have a shot of winning and beating the Lakers.
They do because the Lakers were no great shakes either.
No, they weren't. And to be honest, but at the same point as the Lakers this year, it was funny because the same thing happened last year. Every game against the Nuggets we were in, but this year we were winning. Every game. We had a stat line. It was ridiculous. We were winning the game like 170 minutes, whatever. We were winning the game, and we just lost in one quarter. And because we were gassed. The only game we won was when we made it. We didn't go crazy in the first half. Just let Denver stay in it, but we knew that we were uncontrolled because we didn't have Anthony Davis and LeBron James kill themselves in the first half.
Right.
And we won that game. And then I don't know what happened in the fifth game. The fifth game, Jamal Murray just made a shot. I mean, just like he did in game 2. But I don't know. The Lakers were right there.
Well, the Lakers, I mean, they have their three. They have Davis, they have LeBron, and they have Russell. I mean, those three guys are mega stars in the NBA. Then they have the other guy who, the white guy who's a good shooter.
Austin Reeves, yeah.
Yeah, they should be better than they are. And I don't want to hear that, well, you know, those guys are older. LeBron James is still putting up big numbers, and so is Anthony Davis. And Russell has had his moments as well.
But then he has the crappy moments, and that's the problem. That's why we lost this series, because Russell didn't show up, and he had that game where he went 0 for 7 in LA, and he didn't hit a basket. They were booing his behind to get off the court. Reeves did not show up until the last 2 games.
Right.
When we won that game, and then the 5th game, he didn't really show up. So
they're a tough team to coach, but I think
because you got LeBron, that's why.
I think with the right coach, they would be better. I mean, you're looking at the Warriors coming in 8th place, 9th place.
Yeah.
The Lakers. I mean, I know these other teams have gotten good. They're younger and so on.
They're not better though.
You can't. The Lakers and playing in a play-in game in the history of this league. That's obscene.
Yeah, no, because we're all the whole saying is the Lakers win champions. Everything's about a banner, and I don't know. The way we were looking in that in-season play-in tournament was ridiculous. Like, we were looking like a powerhouse. And then after that, then we took it on again. But that's what we did last year. We waited to the last, 20 games, and then we decided to go, 16-5 and
Right.
decided, hey, we'll just use the last 20 games, we'll put it on. But it doesn't work like that, man. You got to
You know, the other thing you have to think, and let's go back to the travel. You're playing 82 games after an exhibition season. And the rule in the NBA is you have to be in the city that you're playing in the next night. So with back to backs, let's just say Washington is playing Toronto.
Yeah.
Okay. If Washington plays on Saturday night and they're playing Toronto, they've got to be in Toronto on Saturday night or early Sunday morning
Yeah.
and, and then go and play. I
Yeah.
mean, that is not easy.
No, it's
That's
not.
why I give the Knicks as much credit. You saw it in the fourth game. They just didn't have any energy. But
No.
last night, it was amazing. After what happened in Indy, for them to come back with that level of energy, a lot of it has to do with Thibodeau, and a lot of it has to do with a guy like Josh Hart.
Yeah.
When he's playing with that kind of energy, and you're on the floor, and you're saying, "Man, he's giving that. I better give the same thing."
Exactly. And on top of that, Indiana, man, they were talking such crap to Brunson, and Brunson was like, there's a long way in this series. Series ain't over. So I don't know why you guys just won 2 games and only tied up the series. And it ain't like you up 3-1 and about to close it out.
Well,
So
I'll tell you what the roughest job in this whole endeavor is officiating. And I know there have been complaints. Yeah, the Knicks got 2 calls that were very favorable, but
yeah.
you know what? Brunson doesn't touch the ball where he's not fouled.
No, he doesn't. Like on that 3-pointer in Indiana when they lost a close one, the
Right.
first game, dude, he got like slapped on the
But
right arm.
he knows that was a bad shot. And now I blame
He shouldn't
Thibodeau
have.
for that.
Yeah.
I blame Thibodeau for that. If you, Devin Centers did not miss all night long.
Yeah.
So the ball's on the side. If you run Brunson into the corner, they're going to maybe go at him with 1 or 2 guys. And you have the center set a screen for Devin Centers, and he comes off. I want him taking the last shot.
Yeah, because he was on fire.
Right. And I'm using Brunson. Look at it. I mean, he even admitted it. It was an awful shot.
Yeah, it was really bad.
It was an awful shot. But when what's his name? The little guy that's guarding him, the white guy.
Tyrese Halliburton?
No,
Mc,
McDonald or
yeah, it's either McDonald, McNeff. I forget.
McCormick.
Yeah,
Well,
McCormick, something like that.
whatever it is, he fouls him every time.
Yeah,
You're not supposed to play with your hand on the guy's back. If I'm guarding you and I can keep my hand on you, I can control you.
yeah,
Now Brunson gets away because they screen and because he's got that reverse body dribble and so on.
yeah,
But he gets fouled every time.
yeah. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. I definitely agree with that. But yeah, that's pretty much it for my show here today, Professor McCarthy. I appreciate you coming on. It turned into a monster show. I love it. We talked some sports. I'm definitely gonna have you more on. But I'm gonna try to get, if we can get you, Professor Gilbert and Billy on for an episode. Well, that'll be pretty cool.
No,
So,
that would be good. If
that was,
we can keep Billy from trying to advance himself with all the stars. You know, every time you see him, he's got another celebrity.
yeah, I know, it's ridiculous. It's
That
awesome. But hey, that's where I want to be. At his point when I get out of college. So I think I'm on a good track. So I think I'm doing pretty well for myself. So let's keep on moving forward.
Well, just be careful with Dr. Gilbert when you're boxing with him. Make sure you keep hitting the gloves because he was a wrestler, and I think sometimes he's been hit in the head too many times.
He's funny. He's funny. He's funny.
So,
He actually offered me to do it during the summer, and I'm gonna do it Tuesdays and Thursdays. So
yeah, we got to be a little careful with him. Don't knock him out.
I won't. Don't worry. All right, Professor. I appreciate you coming on.
Good.
Here on the Fire Sports
Sure.
Pod, I'm your host, Zack Jackson. It's Professor McCarthy. We just had Billy on, and that will be it. See you, Professor. Thanks for coming on.
Take care.
All right, guys. So yeah, that's pretty much it for my show here today. Appreciate you guys coming on, staying tuned. We're about to be hit 1 hour. Appreciate all the support, guys. I'll be posting this very shortly after this. Peace out, guys.